Wes, our next guest, there's a little, like you said, a little football, a little baseball. He can get a little NFL on you, but now he's taking care of business with Georgia Tech, throwing that thing all over the yard. Here's Chris Weinke, Heisman Trophy winner from Florida State. Coach, how we doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
You know what? It's been a long time. I remember barbecuing you on WFNZ radio when you're trying to throw it incomplete passes, incompletions. I mean, goodness gracious. We go way back, man. Way back with Chris Weinke.
Back in the old days in Charlotte. I enjoyed those times. And, Packer, as much as you roasted me, I always enjoyed listening to you. So it was a great experience for me.
But listen, before Wes asks you a real good question, I got to tell you, I'm going to give you props on something. And I've bragged about you on this show. You still, to this day, have the greatest play action pass that I have ever seen in the history of football, because I was sitting in the end zone in Tallahassee when you and Bobby Bowden, Mark, Rick, the rest of you guys down there decided, hey, we're up 50, and we got a little play action pass from our own 1 yard line. And I knew you had the ball. I think I was the only guy at Doak that knew you had the ball because you were looking me right in the eye in the end zone. And I was like, man, somebody get a hold of Weinke. And you turned around calm and cool. You're back there chewing gum, reading a book, and didn't turn around and threw a 99-yard touchdown pass. It was as pure a thing as I've ever seen, man. That play still to this day is one of the all-timers.
Well, I appreciate that. And, the interesting story, or the interesting part about that story, is that was one of those late-night editions on Friday night at the hotel. So we didn't even walk through that play. And we had just been watching extra film, and we saw if we got into 12 personnel and condensed the formation, if we motioned down, they'd bring the safety down. There was nobody back there. So Coach Bowden was begging to get us to get the ball inside the 5-yard line so we could call this play. So it all worked. So that was a Mark Rick, Bobby Bowden special there.
Yeah, no doubt. It was perfectly executed.
Chris, I wonder, when you arrived with Jeff Collins, and I knew there was some familiarity with you and GC, but also Brent Key and some other guys that are a part of this staff. But the work you've done post your playing career in coaching quarterbacks, I'm fascinated to talk with you just about the evolution of the position in your coaching career and what you've seen and where the pros and cons are from when you played, and how much do you kind of have to keep pushing the edge of the envelope a little bit at that position, the way the college game is skewed now?
Yeah, there's no question. The game continues to change, and I think the training continues to change because of that. I was very fortunate when I got done playing to have the opportunity to launch the IMG Academy football program from the ground up. They tricked me a little and said, come down and run the program. Well, I didn't have a football, any pads, and I was working out of a single-wide trailer. So it was a challenge in itself, but something I truly enjoyed, which offered me the opportunity and granted me the ability to be able to work with a number of guys coming out of college as I launched a combine program, and guys like Russell Wilson, Ryan Tannehill, Cam Newton, Kirk Cousins, the likes of those guys. My position on the quarterback training is that everybody's a little bit different. Different skill sets, different processing in terms of the speed of what they can see and what they can do. And now you see the game changing where you don't see as many guys under center. But I still have a foundational belief in the training of the quarterback and that passing the football is rhythm and timing. And you must have great eye discipline. And so having the opportunity to work with all those guys, and now really guys at every level, it's been a joy. But again, as the schemes and the game changes, the quarterback play changes a little. So it's a dynamic that people are trying to stay up to speed with, and I truly enjoy that challenge.
Chris, speaking of challenges, what about the Georgia Tech quarterback room? You tell me. I mean, we're sitting here in June, and you got to get ready for Clemson for the opener. And like you said, you've seen all these big-time names. You were a big-time player. But what about your Georgia Tech quarterback room?
Yeah, really excited about it. There's no question. I did come in December and walked into a room that only had 3 scholarship quarterbacks, which is unheard of at this level. We were able to add some guys to that room, but very excited about the potential of Jeff Sims. When you look at him in terms of his athletic ability, his skill set, great kid, loves to work, loves to study, wants to be coached, and that's really all I'm asking for. So the ability to be able to now continue to work with him, teach him, continue to help him in his growth at this position, very excited about that. Obviously added a couple of transfers, one being Zach Gibson from Akron, who has some playing experience, as well as Tyson Pumachow. I hope I'm not messing up his name, but interesting fact there. Obviously, you were opening up with his former team. So, and then a young freshman that we really like in Zach Pyron out of Alabama. So it's an interesting room. It's a little bit, I always say it's always good to have a competitive room where guys are all a little bit different. They bring something different to the table. And what I've tried to create is that competitive environment where these guys are pushing each other to be the best we can be.
Chris, it also seems like there's a little bit of a chemistry project on offense here. I mean, you and Brent Key, who's one of the best line coaches in the country. We know about Chip Long's background, the ability you guys have got with some of the skilled guys on the perimeter here. But there's got to be some checks and balances here. How much of this is the layering from the spring and now this film work and whiteboard stuff that has to occur this time of year to get ready for what you're going to try and put in August to make a go of it?
Well, there's no doubt. You see a number of new additions on this staff, and anytime you do that, you all have to get on the same page. And I think we have spent endless hours defining who we are as an offense, how we want to attack the defense. Obviously, Chip, in terms of leading our program, has brought us all together and what his vision is. We have the addition of an off-field analyst in Jim Chaney, who's got a number of years of experience that brings great value to our offensive staff. But we have a great cohesive unit, and everybody has say. Chip allows us to be able to voice our opinion in terms of the different offenses that we've been in. But we've spent endless hours, and now because of an early spring ball, we're able to go back and quality control it, look at it, see what we want to change, see what we want to add. It's been a lot of fun, and because of the staff, I think that's the most important thing. And everybody's working and hopefully get this thing rocking and rolling and all on the same page.
Chris, I always find it interesting, the ebbs and flows of a sport, how it changes in terms of philosophy. And you know, back like when you played at Florida State, I know it was a different era and everything else, but the game has changed so much. From an offensive perspective, what do you think the next trend will be in college football from an offensive perspective?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think there's going to be a point in time. I can promise you, if we went out there and we got in 22 personnel and we got in the I formation, those defensive coordinators would be scratching their heads. So I think it's very cyclical. As you see, you know, there's guys that would, you know, we've gone from being under center to now in the shotgun, now the RPO game, now the quick perimeter throws. I think if you can mesh those two things, you can keep the defense off balance. It will be interesting to see in the next 3 to 5 years, what is the new addition to the offenses. I don't know how much more you can do, except go back to maybe some of the old school stuff that I think puts some pressure on the defense.
Hey, Chris, you walk around on Grant Field a little bit the first time you went out there and show Key all those places where you threw the ball to wire them up when you win games there? Did you just kind of take Key around and say, hey, this is where I threw 3rd and 18 to Peter Warwick down the far side for 60-some yards. This is where I dumped it to Kendra on the play fake for the touchdown. You know, just those kind of things. You just walk Key around the building, did you, to show him all those spots where you beat their rear ends?
Well, we talk about those times, and he doesn't necessarily want to get in that conversation. But when I first got here, I took him by the hand, and we slowly walked out of this tunnel. And I very softly reminded him of some of the things that we did while I was here. But I also share that this was one of the tougher places to play, and we always had some good battles. But he doesn't necessarily want to close the door and have that conversation. But I've enjoyed working with Brent.
Dude,
There you are.
I got to tell you.
There you are with another play fake, man. Look, I tell you, Chris Weinke, you know, I hope that you're teaching them how to hide the football, dude. I'm telling you, you're as good as I've ever seen anybody do it. Even these highlights, I don't know where the ball is half the time.
Look at this.
That play right there is called Pass 44 Joey. That was a big play for Dan Kendra. That was a Mark Rick special. But I'm a firm believer in being a magician with the ball. So we spend a lot of time on the fundamentals of ball handling, footwork, all those things. And hopefully we might get a little late. Well, we open the season on Monday night, so we might get a late Sunday night edition to bring back some of those Clemson memories from back in the day.
I tell you what, if you go fullback, I tell you what we're going to say. You know what? It all started on this show on June 10th when Georgia Tech comes out with 2 fullbacks and just pounds the rock between the tackles all night.
Hey, you never know. We got all summer to prepare and get ready to go. So, new staff, new scheme. We'll keep them on their toes.
Let me tell you this, Chris. I told David Green, who Rick coached at Georgia, and you gave credit where credit's due. Mark Richt was the king of teaching to play fake. There's no question about that. But I told David Green, you are just Chris Weinke light here, Greeny. You're not doing anything that Weinke didn't put on a top shelf of the grocery store, son. That's all I'm telling. And he used to do it all the time and sit back there like he had the ball shoved in his jersey pocket and all this other stuff. And I'm like, man, that doesn't even touch Weinke on the play fake.
No.
Well, I appreciate that. I enjoy working with Mark Richt, good friend of mine, and obviously still stay in touch with him. But he helped in terms of developing me, and really enjoyed playing for him.
By the way, what'd you do with the Heisman? Your Heisman trophy today is where?
In my house in St. Louis. Got a home in St. Louis, and so it's got a special little spot there. And so, I am getting a lot of requests to bring it down here to the ATL. So there might be a little surprise visit by the Heisman Trophy down here. I do have a quarterback camp next Thursday, so we're trying to get some kids here from all over the country, and there might be a little surprise here. You never know.
I like it. Well, listen, continued success. We'll see you this fall for sure.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks,
really
Chris.
enjoyed it.
You bet. Chris Weinke, Georgia Tech's quarterbacks coach.